Having started to follow college football in the late 1990s and early 2000s, I fondly remember the Big 12 being a conference full of awful AstroTurf fields. Of course, it has gone through quite a bit of upheaval since then. And of course, technology has seen those bright green, ACL shredding playing surfaces become a thing of the past. If I'm being honest, I do miss that old alignment, and I absolutely despise what will happen to the conference in a few years, so our ranking of Big 12 stadiums is going to look at the current 10 teams. That means Texas and Oklahoma are in, and BYU and UCF and all of the other teams have not been included. It's just the 10 teams playing there today. As far as this ranking of Big 12 stadiums is concerned, I'm approaching things from a neutral point of view. Being a West Coast guy, I have no dog in this fight, nor do I care what these fan bases think. That means this is probably the most truthful ranking of Big 12 stadiums as you can expect to find out there. Speaking of truth, here's a cold hard truth coming at you. A lot of these stadiums aren't nearly as good as ones you can find in the Mountain West Conference. If you'd like to know our rankings on those stadiums, check out the video in the upper right hand corner of your screen. With that accepted fact now out of the way, let's rank some Big 12 football stadiums. One of the takeaways from the Kansas Jayhawks Cinderella season in 2007 was the crappiness of David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium. And while some improvements have been made over the past 15 years, namely removing that ridiculous running track, it's still pretty terrible overall. I mean, it's great if you love things shaped like the letter U, but most everyone else will be thoroughly unimpressed. Also, while I'm on the topic of Kansas, let's call a spade a spade. Lawrence is just as pretentious as Austin. I get why both places think they're so great compared to their surroundings, but it can be a bit much. Texas Tech fans are alarmingly aggressive despite the fact that no one else really cares about them or their university. Seriously, Red Raider fans, no other school in Texas would list Tech as their primary rival, and that's just a fact. I think this lot is probably just angry they were dumb enough to go to a school in such a boring place. Anyway, Jones AT&T Stadium is big but does nothing to stand out. Sorry, throwing tortillas on the field doesn't count. There is legitimately no reason to travel all the way to Lubbock, which is in the absolute butt-F middle of nowhere, to see a game from here. So basically most of what I just said about Texas Tech and Jones AT&T Stadium also applies to West Virginia and MILAN PUSKAR Stadium. The key differences are that the surrounding area is a little nicer and Morgantown is closer to civilization than Lubbock happens to be. The shortcomings of MILAN PUSKAR Stadium are mostly due to the facility being a product of its time though. It opened in 1980, and all stadiums designed between 1970 and 1990 look pretty awful. Let us start with the positives about Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. Walking up to the venue is extremely memorable. It looks striking. It's a gorgeous from the outside. It's pretty nice from the inside. Additionally, the sloping of the stands has been done extremely well. There isn't a bad seat in the house. Now it is time for the negatives. Oklahoma Sooner fans, you suck. All you guys do is scarf down pan pizzas and light beer while complaining about any and everything. Seriously, these people spend 3 hours every Saturday bitching while a football game happens to be playing out in front of them. They'll bitch about the defense, they'll bitch about the coaching staff, they'll bitch about the kicker, they'll bitch about politics, they'll bitch about the bag boy at Homeland smushing their bread. Really, they'll just bitch about anything about their stupid lives in stupid Oklahoma. Long story short, awful fans ruin what is really a pretty good stadium if I'm being honest. The limestone facade at Bill Snyder Family Stadium is quite unique for a football venue. It also happens to be a tribute to the team's original home of World War I Memorial Stadium, which is actually still used by Kansas State athletics to this day. Once inside though, Bill Snyder Family Stadium is fairly standard. It was opened in 1968 and that fact definitely shows. Some renovations have been done over the years, but its age is very evident when you watch a game from here. All things considered, the stadium is an embodiment of K-State football as a whole. Good but not great, you know it's there but also don't really care. You could go watch a game here, but you wouldn't really miss it if you didn't attend. MCLANE Stadium is the game manager quarterback of stadiums. It's solid, fundamentally sound, and does a lot of things right. As a new stadium, you'll find modern amenities and the facility is certainly comfortable. It is a very good place to watch a game, but it just lacks something. And in my humble opinion, that something is a proper fan base. For a school that prides itself on its Christian values, Baylor fans are kinda scumbags. Now, nothing they do differs from the usual fare you would experience at any public school. However, Jesus probably isn't loving the fact Bears supporters in the stands at MCLANE Stadium are showing off dick pics they have received, sneaking alcohol in the games, and gossiping like non-stop, seriously. That's not even the students, by the way. These are things I have seen the alumni and normal fans do with my own eyes at a game. Jack Trice Stadium just feels like college football to me. It has been renovated really well over the years and is a good place to watch a game. Look, it's not the sexiest venue in the world, and the weather isn't always agreeable, but there's a lot to admire here despite its shortcomings. Iowa State fans deserve a mention as well. They are loyal and they actually watch the game, unlike some of the other fan bases we've touched on already. Everyone is Iowa nice. Ames is a pretty underrated college city too. You know, just overall, the experience at Jack Trice is among the better ones you'll find in the Big 12 and college football as a whole. It's downright amazing to look at photos of Amon G. Carter Stadium from the 2000s and then see it today. This place has transformed from a generic dump to a really cool sporting venue. Some out there have tried to call it the Camden Yards of college football. I don't really know about all that, but it definitely has an old-timey feel that extends from the outside to the concourses and just about everywhere else in between. People do criticize Amon G. Carter Stadium for the lack of atmosphere, which is something that gets overblown. Let's be truthful, the crowd here is full of real estate agents with fake tans, bleached teeth, and pleasant but not particularly interesting dispositions. But when TCU plays a rival or a team that matters, the crowd does get into it. And they are certainly much better than the hypocritical riffraff at Baylor. Spending 3 hours on a Saturday watching a game at Amon G. Carter Stadium is a really nice experience. Unless, of course, you happen to go to one of those asinine afternoon kickoffs in September. Look, Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium is outstanding, especially with the south end zone upgrades completed. I mean, these have reshaped the facility. No, I'm not really interested in your lame uterus jokes. My main issue is that the facility gives off big Dodger Stadium vibes now. At this point, people go to Texas football games as much to be seen and say they went as anything else. Don't get me wrong, they are fans and they care about the team, but the experience at Memorial Stadium just feels a bit vapid these days. Now we arrive at the best stadium in the Big 12, Boone Pickens Stadium. Here's the deal, the paddles are stupid and Oklahoma State fans are only slightly less uncouth than Oklahoma supporters. But holy hell, Boone Pickens is an awesome place to watch a game. It seriously feels like you are on top of the action, and the atmosphere this creates is fantastic. Also, the design inside and outside are really exquisite. Like, it's just a beautiful college football venue. Meanwhile, Stillwater is a good college town. People are friendly in person, although you know they probably hold some horrendous political beliefs that are most likely spread online. On the plus side, there are a lot of great places to eat in the city, and you don't have to talk to anyone if you don't want. At the end of the day, if you go to one Big 12 conference game in your life, it should be at Boone Pickens Stadium, and this really isn't much of a competition. there you have it. That is our rankings of the football stadiums in the Big 12. I know a lot of you are probably salty, so go ahead and thumbs down the video and leave rude, aggressive comments in the comment section. Just go wild with it. But here's the thing, and we both know this, nothing I have said in this video is untrue. Anyway, that does it for me. I am Cheyenne Hollis. This is the Touchback, and make sure, like always, you hashtag take it out to the 25.